Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Move Through Motivation Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Olson, and I have a very special guest with us today. Somebody I've actually never met in person. We've met through a mutual friend, a CrossFit competitor friend of mine, and we are doing something at our next month Just Move event at the Eastvale Community Park, and how our worlds have connected, the synergy between what's going to happen at that event, and just me talking with our lovely guest, Joyce Valdez. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited, and I usually hate the circumstances that I meet people in the type of job that I do. But in the end, little do they know that I needed them more than they needed me. So I feel like there's a reason why we connected besides,
Froze up.
Besides you and your girl, you and your friend that introduced us from, CrossFit. There was a reason behind all of it. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm really happy to have you here because this has been a very emotional day. I called the guys earlier, and there's a video I shared with you yesterday about when I was getting my chemo at City of Hope. But first, before we go there, tell us who you are, what you do, and who is Joyce Valdez, and who do you work for, and how are we connected?
Who is Joyce Valdez? Okay, Joyce Valdez in the work world is a senior community outreach specialist at City of Hope Medical Center, which is located in Duarte. We work for a department called Be the Match Registry. Be the Match helps patients primarily diagnosed with leukemia or lymphoma. So anyone that has a blood cancer are the patients that we work with. When they get to us, the reason when patients come to us is if they've exhausted all their treatments and it's no longer working, then their doctors will suggest a blood stem cell transplant to save their life. So usually the doctors will always search a family member. That's who usually would be a perfect match, is a family member. But if there aren't any matches, then that's when they come to us and they ask us to search our database in hopes to finding an unrelated donor out there to save their life. So just to kind of give you a breakdown, currently right now, we're working with about 250 patients at City of Hope that are in need of a transplant. So treatment wasn't working. So now they saw that no one in their family was a match. So now that's when they've come to us. Out of the 19 million people that are on this list, not one person is a match for the 250 patients that we're working with. So our team goes out and they just raise awareness. They do events. They go to colleges. Pre-COVID, they go to colleges anywhere and everywhere. They go to churches that allow us to raise awareness, talk about Be the Match. And then essentially at the very end, we want them to join this list and see if they could be a potential match for a patient that's in need.
So when you say that and you talk about the 250 patients at your facility, there's not a match, and you're going out to do drives, basically, right? Kind of like a blood drive, but you're trying to find yourself because, as we know, I think any family member would give anything they could in their body to save a loved one. And as we were talking, you said that's just not the case. Sometimes you can't find that match. And Shawn Boatright, I just want to talk about him for a minute. What's your connection with Shawn? Because that's how Yesenia, my friend, connected the two of us. They used to work together in Anaheim. So tell me his story, a little bit about him, what you know.
So exactly how I say that how patients get connected with us. They've reached out. So Shawn was a patient. Shawn is an Anaheim PD officer. He's been in Anaheim PD for about 19 years and has just a great village behind him. Got diagnosed with leukemia, I want to say back in July. He was diagnosed, and treatment isn't working. So now the next best thing was a blood stem cell transplant. He doesn't have any, none of his family members are a perfect match. So that's when they went to the Be the Match registry in hopes of finding a match. And Shawn Boatright, one person out of the 19 million people, they start to search, not one person was a match for him. I got connected to Yesenia because Yesenia used to work with Shawn. And that's how this whole thing kind of started. But Shawn and his family have been rallying, and Anaheim PD has been going out there. LAPD has been trying to host donor registration events, trying to get people to register. We've registered probably close to about a little over 300 people, and we haven't found a match yet, because again, it's really difficult to find matches. So that's where MTM is here. Just Move movement is helping us, where we're trying to raise awareness and seeing if someone could be a potential match for Shawn or for any patient that's searching.
So I got a message from his wife, Irma, about what we're doing. And it's been a very emotional week for me. The guys know on Tuesday night, I had like a full breakdown, just a lot of stress, just this what we're doing, we don't know if we're going to find a match. 19 million people have already done it. And the only thing that we are trying to do is just give a little hope. And I sent you the video this week. And another reason why I feel like things connected is where I had my treatment is at City of Hope. And my doctor, Dr. Popwell, a phenomenal doctor, the staff, the whole experience in 2018, my community that was behind me was just relentless and supportive. And I just know what they're going through. Now, I don't know what they're going through, not knowing what the hope is right now, but that they're not giving up and saying we're throwing in the towel, that they're reaching out to whoever they know to say, will you just swab your cheek to see if you're a match? And, when Yesenia first talked to me about this, the whole pandemic with COVID, it hasn't stopped to Just Move, because the whole purpose of that is to get families healthy, to get ready for a fight, to get ready for something they don't know what's going to happen down the line. And movement has helped me. It helped me mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, so many different ways. And I share that testimony as many times as I can. But if there's any way our team could help, we're going to do it. And this was just, I was sent you the video. The video that I sent you was during my chemo treatments. They were a little bit wacky. When the Benadryl kicked off, I would do squats with the staff, with the people that came to do to sit in the chemo room with me. And they thought I was crazy, but every once in a while we would hear a happy birthday song. And I don't know why, but I would get out of bed because there was a lot of noise, and I would sing happy birthday. And the video I sent you was after we sang happy birthday for this guy, Joe. Didn't meet Joe, couldn't meet Joe. He was in a secluded room. Never met him till to this day. It was his birthday. And tell me a little bit about what that's like when you do find a match, when that hope is alive and you get those stem cells. What is that like?
Well, I've never had the stem cells, but when I talk to patients and just hearing when patients call, or when patients or their families call us and letting us know that they found a match, one, on my end, I'm like, yes, this is what I've been doing for so long. And you see it come full circle. For them, it's hard, where I'm pretty sure with a lot of people, they feel like they have so much control in their life. And then when you get hit with cancer, you just kind of have to let go of that control. But then to get another hit saying to save your life is you now need to have someone to donate to you, and a family member doesn't match. You now need to essentially rely on a complete stranger. It hits another nerve too. So when patients know that they call us, they don't want to call us. They don't even want to hear it, because they know that they're looking for that needle in a haystack in finding a match. So when they do find that needle in a haystack, I've heard people fall to the ground. They are celebrating. but they aren't celebrating until they know that those stem cells are in the patient itself. But just to know that, you feel like you've overcome it. You've defeated this ugly disease. Now you just have that other hurdle of receiving these stem cells. But to already know that you found out of 19 million people, there was one donor that was a match for you and said yes. I have no words as far as the emotions that people have when they do find out. It's like a sense of relief. When I've never, for people that I know that's had cancer, it's like they say, like, I felt like someone just hit me, and then now you just are tense all the time. And just having so much weight on your shoulders of having cancer and just so many other things. And then when they tell you need a match and then you find a match, you just feel like this weight is lifted off. It's like one less thing to worry about. So there's so many different emotions, but I know on my end as the rep working with the families, I feel like this is the years and years of that I've been working, that I know that this works. It was just a simple cheek swab that just set, and someone saying, yes, I want to go further with donating.
Okay. So, and that's what I want to get to. What can they expect at the event? And I'm going to, so and I've sent you what we do, but we come there, we have a motivational speaker, we say a prayer, and we just literally walk, run, ride a scooter, bike. But obviously Joyce will be there. Tell people what they can expect of what the booth will be like and what all they're doing in a sense.
Oh my gosh, it's the simplest thing. It's the easiest thing at the event itself. You're just filling out a form digitally. So we would ask you to have your cell phone out. So this is where we're COVID compliant. You take out your cell phone, you type in, you text a word, and a link will pop up. That's where you'll fill out your form. And you fill it out. They'll ask for some personal information. Once you fill it out, it's going to ask you to scan a barcode, which is a swab kit. It looks like two Q-tips, and you're just swabbing the inside of your cheeks for about 10 seconds. We put it back into an envelope. I then send it to our lab to seeing if you're a match for Shawn or for any patient that's searching. And that's it. It takes about 10 minutes.
10 minutes. And so it's nothing evasive. It's not, I know everybody's like with the swabbing of COVID and all the testing that's going on. This is really like giving, in a sense, going to a blood donation, giving blood, but you're just trying to see if you're a match, right? That's really what you're doing. We're not going to be giving blood there. Nobody's taking blood from you. We're just trying to see if you could match 250 patients that you are currently working with, needle in a haystack, maybe some DNA crossing that you could actually connect it to and hopefully save somebody's life. I mean, Shawn is who we know and who we're doing this for, but there's other people too, right? I mean, the community of leukemia and lymphoma, and I had lymphoma. So we talked about this. I had lymphoma. So again, another connection of I beat it or am in remission. I want to continue to help and raise awareness to help people in that fight. And the team that is around me and the community, like the city, the parks and recreation, they're behind it because they do blood drives to try and help people save life with what's going on too. We reached out to other cities. Like, I want this to be the most epic event where people come out and do it, because I know that large gatherings are not recommended, but you know what? If a large enough gathering comes together and that one person comes and saves one person's life, I don't care. This is COVID's not the only disease we're fighting in the world right now. This is what people don't understand for me personally, because I've been through a disease. I've had it. It's not the only disease out there. And there are people that are literally fighting, begging strangers to save their lives. Strangers that you don't know. And I know people that will come and, will swab and will hopefully we'll find a match. And that's why I pray. And we're going to pray that day. We're going to pray hard. We're going to pray before, we're going to pray during, we're going to pray after that. Just maybe if the day you give me a call, we'll have another one to say, we found somebody's going to get a chance to live. And if you've never had the disease, or you've had a family member that's never had a family member that's had the disease, you may not understand that. But if you have, that passion and drive to just live is so important. And That's all I'm hoping for on our event that day. I don't know the outcome. I don't know if we'll find a match, but you know what? We're going to swing for the fences and hope we hit a home run. So,
well, I appreciate you doing this because what people don't understand is I know everyone's life has changed when COVID hit back in March. But what people don't understand is our organization, when I say we have a team, there's a team at just City of Hope alone. There's 6 of us that go out. And the biggest where we were focused on was college campuses, about 95% of the time, live donor registration events. Well, when COVID hit, colleges closed down, live donor registration events closed down, but yet patients were still getting diagnosed with cancer. Patients are still searching, and I can't go to a patient saying, well, COVID hit, so we just aren't registering donors. It's like, nope, we needed to find a way to doing it. And City of Hope is just one network that is that does this, out doing, donor registration events. We have a whole network in the US that's doing it through Be the Match. When I talk about 250 patients at City of Hope, we're just one transplant center. There's UCLA, USC, there's Dana-Farber. So we have thousands of patients always searching. I'm just trying to give you just one snippet of one transplant hospital or a medical center that is having a hard time trying to find donors, let alone all these other transplant centers that are looking for donors. So, but yeah, colleges were our big thing because we're looking for 18 to 44-year-old donors to register. That's who is best that's who doctors prefer are someone between those ages. And so that's what kind of that's what makes it even harder to getting donors registered because we are looking for a very specific age range. And where do we find those? Are college campuses, and college campuses are closed. So we are willing to go anywhere and everywhere that we can register donors.
Well, I know our city is a young city. They have multi-generational families here, but there is a young city and there's young families, and I am making a public service announcement to the city of Eastvale, to the local cities around here, to please just come out and swab or cheat. Even if you don't want to walk, you can come up, socially distance. Like always, we've done our Just Move events starting in June. June, July, August, September. This is our 5th one. This is our 6th one. November will be our 6th one. And we've done it every month. And the encouragement that comes out of that has been families moving and building a bond. And, we pray every time that nothing bad happens, and we don't want anything to happen, but we're outside, we're at a park in a public place. Like it's not even in a close room. And yeah, there's a lot of people, but it's the same thing people do for protesting for rights. I'm protesting for life. And that's what I'm really going to say. I am protesting for somebody to save somebody's life. And if this Be the Match is a registry that somebody could come in and there's a match somewhere in UCLA, somebody might get saved. We don't know. And that's the whole thing about it. You don't know, and you're trying to roll the dice, and you hope you don't roll crap out and hit 7-11, and you keep hitting the numbers and you go. But we don't know, and we're going to try and pray about it. So the next thing I have for you, and just kind of talk me through the process, when there is a match, what happens then? What's that process like? What is that for the person who, you're a lifesaver? What happens then? And you say, hey, I'll donate. What happens then?
Super simple. We're going to ask you a series of questions to make sure you're still okay to donate. Because when you register, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get called right away. But they'll ask you a series of questions to see if you're still healthy enough to donate. And if you are healthy and good, you're going to go through more blood work. And the donation process is super simple. It's like donating blood now. We're taking these stem cells from your bloodstream. So you're just sitting on a donor bed, just like how I told you where you were doing the squats in the video. For the most part, you'll be at a donor center closest to where you live. If you're in Southern California, more than likely you'll be at City of Hope, but you're just sitting on a donor bed. They're hooking, they're taking the blood and then separating the blood and the stem cells. And those stem cells that they collect is what's going to be given to the patient to save their life. And then the rest of the blood is put back into the other arm. So it's an apheresis machine where they're just filtering out those stem cells, taking out what they need, putting back what they're not using, and then trying to get as much stem cells as they can to be given to the patient. And then the patient, there's someone that picks up those stem cells. We then deliver it to the patient. whether they're at City of Hope or at a different transplant center. And for the patient, they are just, it's like an IV. And that's their new rebirth day because they're getting a brand new chance at life. So when you were talking about someone singing happy birthday, we would sing happy birthday to those that received their stem cells because we were saying that that was their new birth date. So very simple. That's what people don't understand is it's not the painful procedure that people think it is. It's more, it's like a blood donation now.
Okay. And then thank God for technology and coming around and making it that much easier to save more lives. I can't wait till this disease is over. Maybe one day. My last thing is I'm grateful for your job. I don't even know how to say, like, you literally have a job that saves lives and your team and the City of Hope. And I just challenge people because it's the hardest thing to get that news. It's the hardest thing to hear that I know people right now that treatment's not working. I know them personally. And it just breaks my heart that there's nothing that can be done. And that it's not that they're not trying. It's just treatment's not working. And when I was going through the treatment, it was talked about if it did not work, stem cells is the next wave of treatment plan if the chemo didn't work. So Joyce, I'm looking forward to that day. I hope we find a match, and that's why we wear the City of Hope. I'm wearing my City of Hope shirt that I received from an employee there. That I love this shirt. We get rid of this shirt. It'll be around until the day I die, or if I can't fit into it, I'll try to fit into it. But we always try to talk about struggle to success, and struggle to what our deepest struggles are. They could be our biggest strengths. And when you've done your job and you've got that call that you have a match, have you ever had the privilege of just seeing somebody that has got those stem cells and is thriving in life afterwards? Do you have any situations like that? I know you can't say patient name, but do you have situations like that you've seen in your career?
I've had hundreds, which is, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. I've had hundreds. I've had hundreds where they've called me and I was there in the room when they received the stem cells, which is very emotional. Because they invite me into their darkest part of their life. And then I feel like that's an honor to even call me. I don't think I'm anything to them. I'm doing my job. This is what I get paid to do, which is kind of awesome. But to be invited for them to see me in a different light where they're like, no, you're a family and we're going to invite you and we're going to be part of, I want you in this room. I've been invited to now baby showers, to their weddings, to births of their grandchildren, to everything, anything you name it, to their, children that are going to kindergarten because they missed, when they got diagnosed as an infant and now they're going into kindergarten. My kids are friends with some of the kids that were diagnosed. And we go to their birthday parties and my kids just know them as, that, oh, these were mommy's friends and now they're healthy again. And so, yes, it's been an honor to be invited to those. And I've experienced more than a handful, like I said, about over hundreds of patients that were able to receive a second chance.
I can only hope. That's it. I can hope and pray that what we're doing is good and we're going to do the best job we can. So all of my friends, if you're 18 to 44, I would give every drop of my blood. Trust me, I've tried. They won't take it. And I'm almost at that 44, but I'm not there yet. But I can't because of the disease I had. But if you're 18 to 44 and you know me, it's not going to cost you anything. Just a little bit of pain of getting a needle in your arm. But you might be the match for somebody to walk down an aisle, to see their grandchild born, to live a couple more years. And that's my plea to my tribe. And there's an army out there, and I know they'll hear it, and the word will get spread about what this is. And not only at the Just Move event, I want to make sure that if you do another event, you now have a family now, the MTM family, a personal close connection for us to spread that word. If you have a site that you're going to do it at, you reach out, and you got a crew behind you now. So I really appreciate your time, Joyce. I know we haven't met in person yet. We're Inland Empire neighbors, and I look forward to the 7th when we get to meet and just catch up and go.
I'm looking forward to it, unless I bump into you at an Albertsons over on Limonite somewhere.
It's true. So, but we'll catch up. And like I said, I'm probably going to give you a big old hug. That's just the way I do. You know what I mean? But you're like a little angel. And when I say that, you're like an angel that is trying to promote somebody to live, and it's giving people hope. So thank you, Joyce. I appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you on the 7th.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Take care.
You too. Bye.